guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Hero Show, back after a week's hiatus. I do hope you will forgive me for not recording it last week. As many of you will know, obviously we welcomed the birth of our first son, Alfred, whatever way you want to go, Alfred Oliver. Oliver is actually after Vicky's great-grandfather. We've had a lot of well-wishers tell us that it was cool that we picked a name after the Emerald Archer himself, but no, it's actually a family-related name. But Alfred was very much my homage to Batman, given I've always treated Alfred as the heart and soul of the DC universe. So yeah, he arrived last week, you know, very healthy, 10 fingers, 10 toes. He's grown already so much in the first week. I've become every cliche I said I wouldn't become, you know, hundreds of photos, you know, watching the slightest little movement from him. Yeah, he's a wonderful, wonderful little dude. And, you know, Vicky's obviously recovering from it, and once she's back on her feet, she'll be coming down to the store. I'll look forward to introducing you to the newest addition to the Coffee and Heroes family when we get a chance. So yeah, so a massive thanks to everyone for all the well wishes, all the presents, all the treats. He's a very, very spoiled little boy already. And then just imagine when he grows up and he has the full run of a comic book store. So yeah, so massive thanks again to everyone who, you know, got in touch and all the well wishes and so forth. But when it comes to the store, the last week or two, there's been a lot going on. There's been a few changes we've had to do. There's been some upcoming stuff. But yeah, just to go through it, I mean, we start off with the bad news. There is going to be some price rises. It's essentially going to affect $3 comics, $4 comics, $5 comics, and $6 comics. Anything above that, we're going to absorb the cost ourselves. It essentially comes, Diamond basically gave us a week's notice on this and said effective immediately they were raising prices. I understand why prices are being raised. You know, shipping costs are going up, paper costs are coming up, travel costs are coming up, you know, just cardboard container costs are going up, you know what I mean? So I can understand why, but we weren't given a lot of lead time on it, which was a bit frustrating. But they're raising their prices to us 7.5%, which is quite the rise. Now, we've had to raise our prices. We won't be raising them 7.5%. We've worked it out in a way as much as possible just to keep the lights on, make sure you guys get the best possible value, and went from there. We will be upping our reward card system as well. So instead of any issue up to £4 for free, it'll be an issue up to £5 for free. So, you know, when I break it down, if you're a regular of ours and you use the loyalty card system and you have a pull list, or you're with us regularly or whatever, it effectively comes at around a 10p markup per comic for you guys. But that's less than what we're paying extra per comic. Again, we can't do any more at this point. You know, price rises, they're unavoidable, but we've done the best we can to make sure that we've absorbed a lot of it. We've enough to keep the lights on, of course, but the difference to you guys is as negligible as possible. So yeah, highly recommend the stamp card system. Please remember to bring it with you. We keep having to give out new ones and new ones and new ones. You know, just try to remember your stamp card if you're coming to us. That would be great. So the ironic thing about all this, of course, is that this is the first week of price rises, and the delivery this week was an absolute cluster. We have around 70 issues missing. There's no Batman White Knight Red Hood this week. We should have had upwards of 30 copies of that. Vanished into thin air. We have graphic novels missing. We had all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it's frustrating to say the least that in the week of price rises, the delivery is a mess. So a lot of those titles will be coming next week. We'll obviously guide you as you come in, you know, if things are missing. But we've got notes of it all, and hopefully it comes next week. So yeah, but not a great way to start our new price-heavy relationship with Diamond as well. But no, on to some better stuff. I mean, in store we've got a few different comic lots in recently. You know, nothing to rival the size of the FP one, of course, which is massive. But we got some new Daredevil issues in. We got some new Punisher issues in. We got some new Superman issues in. So again, we will always try and, you know, top up those back issues as much as possible, and, you know, make sure the biggest choice is there for you guys as well. I hope to have an omnibus sale on the go from next week. Again, it's just finding the time to do all of this. Obviously running the store and, you know, taking time with the wee man. So hopefully the omnibus sale will be good to go next week. This Saturday I'm going to be drawing the we did like a like share competition through Facebook. and for a lot of science stuff. Jump on the social media pages and, you know, share that if you haven't had a chance to get entered into it. It's a completely free competition, so there's that. I hope to draw that this Saturday as well. So yeah, just lots going on. You know, it's obviously big life changes, but you know, big store changes as well. Always stuff going on, always stuff being moved, always stuff coming in. So that'll be the next part of the show. But before we jump onto that, just a couple of bits of news. Just as I say, quite a lot's happened in the last 2 weeks. So just to chat about that quickly. I mean, the first thing was waking up this morning to find out that Warner Brothers have cancelled the Batgirl movie, which they've apparently already invested 90 million in and has finished filming. I really don't know what's going on with Warner Brothers and DC at the moment. It's, as a DC fan, it just breaks my heart. It's being run so poorly, without any direction. We have a Batgirl movie cancelled, but apparently a Flash movie still going ahead, even though Ezra Miller's doing everything they can to destroy the movie, you know, with negative press and erratic behaviour. We had San Diego Comic-Con, which, you know, there was 2 movies showcased there for DC, which was Shazam and Black Adam, which both looked great, but just it was a worrying lack of content given the, you know, the franchises and the characters they have at their fingertips. But the Batgirl one's strange, you know, it's they're not even going to release it in HBO Max. They're not going to release it. You know, they basically said it wasn't good enough for theatrical, and they can essentially make their money back on a bad tax write-off if they don't release it, which is unbelievable. But yeah, so that was quite the news to wake up to this morning. But the frustrating element to this is when you compare it to Marvel and Marvel's presentation at San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, wow, there was so much great stuff to unpack here as they unveiled the multiverse saga. And they are almost all the way through phase 4, and they just went, let's announce phase 5 and phase 6. Tons of TV stuff, tons of announcements regarding upcoming movies. You know, we got trailers for the likes of Black Panther, new trailers for She-Hulk. We got, you know, announcements regarding the titles of the next Avengers movies, which are going to be all the way up in phase 6. We got the huge announcement about Daredevil. You know, we obviously have seen Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio nip into some of the Disney Plus shows. You know, Hawkeye comes to mind, She-Hulk comes to mind. But they've now announced Daredevil Born Again, which is going to be an 18-episode series that's going to feature both those guys. You know, that was definitely the thing that excited me the most. You got a new Captain America movie officially launched or announced, New World Order. You got a Thunderbolts movie announced. We're starting to find out little bits and pieces about Fantastic Four, although I think a lot of that casting decision and announcements will be at D23, which comes up later in the year. As I say, those aforementioned Avengers movies, one is The Kang Dynasty, and the other is something that should mean a lot to any Marvel fan, and that is Secret Wars as well. So, you know, as I say, you don't always have to compare the two because, you know, DC and Warner Brothers have done this before. Where they, you know, announced loads of movies and then just they didn't happen, so it's just even worse. So I don't mind them focusing on a couple of core movies and going from there, but it's hard not to be blown away by that Marvel announcement. So much stuff has been announced, and the Black Panther trailer looked fantastic. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the first Black Panther movie. I like it. I don't love it. But the second one looks pretty special. It looks like they're going to do Chadwick Boseman's legacy justice, I would say. A couple of things just then on terms of television and so forth. So we have Sandman hitting this week. I believe it's hitting on Friday on Netflix, which will be August 5th. So definitely looking forward to checking that out. I'm not 100% sure, I must be honest, if it's a 1 episode a week scenario or whole season dropped at once, but I'll have to look into that. But very much looking forward to that. You have She-Hulk coming on August 17th. So again, something to look forward to there with the Disney stuff, Disney Marvel stuff. You know, I've spoken before about my love for Miss Marvel. I thought it was incredible. There's just been a lot of good content this year. So definitely looking forward to that. But there was one comic announcement I just wanted to focus on a little bit, in that it sort of came out of nowhere. And Mark Millar is bringing back Nemesis. Now, Nemesis, I don't know if you guys have heard of this character or not, but he's essentially Batman, but if he decided to use all his wealth, training, tactical nous, and violence for bad instead of good. And the title came out years ago, but what's really, really cool about it is that they've announced it out of nowhere. And they've already brought on Jorge Jimenez as the artist. Now, Jorge Jimenez is currently working with Chip Zdarsky on Batman. Top level artist. So to be brought onto an indie project like this is really, really exciting. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. There's another comic series announced through Miller World label as well called Big Game, which will be with X-Men artist Pepe Larraz as well. So, you know, Mark Miller making some moves, some cool looking stuff coming out there. So definitely worth keeping an eye out for. So that's that side of things. Let's get on to some more bits and pieces regarding this week. So we'll kick things off with the variant section. Tons of variants in this week as always. You know, nice cardstock covers, some nice homage covers, and a little bit of everything. So we kick things off Batman 126. This is the Alex Garner variant cover, so rather lovely image, Batman and Robin. We have also Batman 126, but this is the Guillaume March homage cover. You know, Marvel, Spidey, Venom, Carnage fans may recognize this one. Or McFarlane fans, indeed. Back in stock are Batman 125 issues as well, Francesco Mattina. You know, these sold out really, really quickly on release week. Again, if you want to get into the Zdarsky run, you know, start with 125 before 126. We have the next issue of the Black Adam Justice Society files. This is focusing on Cyclone. And again, you get the movie variant cover. We have Dark Crisis 3, a couple of variants for it. So the first one is a Dan Mora design variant cover for a new character called Red Canary. So the speculation market, of course, eating those up. We have Dark Crisis 3 also. This is the Michael Allred homage variant cover. So always doing homage to, you know, previous DC titles and covers. We have Nathan Zerzde, DC versus Vampires, which is a really cool, ironically enough, a cool Batgirl cover. Cardstock cover as well. Next up we have Harley Quinn. This is a Rand Sook and Bob Kane, it's attributed to. Homage cover. So this is part of the Harley Quinn stuff, that there's going to be a weekly event and there's going to be an homage cover every week. So of course homaging Batman #1 there. Next up we have Joshua Middleton doing the new Champions of Shazam, which is, you know, just beautiful, beautiful work there. We have Sword of Azrael. There's a couple of Sword of Azrael ones this week. I'll get into it when I get into my pull. But there's a one-shot and then the first issue of a 6-issue miniseries. So it's Junie Ba for that one. And then we also have Christian Ward for this one. So that's the 6-issue miniseries, issue 1. Marvel-wise, we kick things off with a 1 to 10 retailer incentive variant. This is for Edge of Spider-Verse #1, which launches this week. This is character Arena, and this is the design variant done by Humberto Ramos. So got a couple of those in. We have Scotty Young when it comes to Edge of Spider-Verse as well. So of course depicting all the different Spideys, which is pretty cool. You know, that's actually one of my favorite Scotty Young covers in quite some time. We also have Immortal X-Men. This is, you know, very classic Marvel. This is the Art Adams variant cover for that. So Immortal X-Men #5. Then we have 2 to finish. We have Twig. We're up as far as issue 4 of Scotty Young and Kyle Strand's Cute Adventure. And this is a variant cover, which is maybe not so cute. Peach Momoko for that one. Yes, she is continuing to get everywhere. And then one to finish off with. This was released a little while back, but we finally got our copies of it. This is Red Room Trigger Warnings. This is issue 2. And this is the 1 to 5 homage variant cover. An homage back to Batman, you know, Ra's al Ghul standing over a fallen Batman as well. So 242, I believe that was, I think. Yeah, so that is variant covers. So again, all going out for sale today. Next up, we will kick things off with my pull list. So pull list wise for me this week, lots and lots of good stuff. Some great stuff, DC, Marvel, Indie. I've got a good little mix of everything. So, you know, we kick things off with Batman. So of course, this is the second issue of the Zdarsky era, if you will. Of course, with Jorge Jimenez on art as well. So the Zdarsky and Jimenez era. Issue 1 was great. This is part 2 of their story, which is a story arc called Feel Safe. And this is Batman 126. Next up, I just showed it off there, Dark Crisis #3. I always collect the homage variant covers. I'm a big fan of these and their nods to DC history. So looking forward to that from Joshua Williamson and Daniel Sampar. So yeah, I was speaking about Sword of Azrael. So as I say, there's a one-shot and then there's an issue 1 of 6. I get the feeling you need both of these. I haven't read them yet, but the reason I say that is it's the same writer for both. It's the same artist for both. So I get the feeling that sort of Azrael Dark Night of the Soul is your intro, and then we're going to be moving on to just the simply titled sort of Azrael for that. So I love me some 90s Azrael type stuff. You know, Jean-Paul Valley, of course, you know, took up the mantle of Batman after Nightfall before Bruce came back and reassumed it. But yeah, one shot and then 6-issue miniseries, both out this week. I'd mentioned as well Edge of Spider-Verse, so we're moving on to this. So again, speculators' dream, no doubt. When it comes to this stuff, you know, you think of how Edge of Spider-Verse before, you know, introduced Spider-Gwen, introduced Spider-Man Noir, introduced all these characters, Penny Parker, stuff like that. So I'm sure there'll be first appearances ahoy there. We have the next issue of Ghost Rider out this week. Again, I love this title. I've never been a big Ghost Rider guy, but this is fantastic. Benjamin Percy on writing duties, Corey Smith on art, brilliant, brilliant stuff. Another of Marvel's best titles is Moon Knight, so Jed MacKay, Alessandro Cappuccio continuing with that. And again, I love that cover with the different iterations, the different personalities of Moon Knight there. We have New Fantastic Four, which has been a great series for Marvel. I've really enjoyed this, real throwback series. I think it's going to be 5 issues, just Peter David, Alan Robinson. Cool lineup for Fantastic Four, Wolverine, you know, Joe Fixit, Hulk, Spider-Man. You got Ghost Rider in here as well. Again, been a lot of fun, that one. Definitely one of my picks for this week. This is up here in my top 1 or 2 this week, is The Dead Lucky. So this is from Melissa Flores is the writer on this now. I was fortunate enough to interview her a few weeks back on the podcast. You can go check that out in the podcast network. Lovely, lovely woman, very knowledgeable, knows her stuff inside and out, but really knows how to tell a great story. And this was a great title to kick things off. So it's part of the Radiant Black universe in terms of Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, that kind of thing. But at the same time, it stands completely on its own. Brilliant issue 1. She sent me a PDF just so I could read it, so be prepared for the interview. Brilliant stuff. Highly, highly recommend that. That is Dead Lucky. Next issue of I Hate This Place. So again, this is tons of fun. This is your haunted cabin in the woods type story. Lots of humor and lots of gore as well. Speaking of gory, we have Philadelphia as well, issue 24. So Rodney Barnes, Jason Sean Alexander. I think we're hitting the end of story arc territory here. So Philadelphia 24. We have Once in Future 28. Again, talking about hurtling towards the end of something. We have Once in Future 28. This is going to finish up at 30. And of course, this is Kieran Gillen, Dan Mora, Tamara Bonvillain on colors. We have the next issue of Radiant Black this week as well, issue 16. So continuing on with this, again, the best Power Rangers story that is not actually Power Rangers, but great stuff. And again, I'm not a Power Rangers guy, but I love Radiant Black. Stillwater, next issue again, last arc. There's way too much of a theme here. Stillwater number 14, so Chip Zdarsky, Ramon K. Perez on that. We have the latest issue of Time Before Time. So Rory McConville, Declan Shelby's title, of course, Looper meets Saga. Again, I would highly recommend catching up on this even on trades. You know, the first 2 trades are out of Time Before Time and some great stuff there. We also have Twig, latest issue, again, of Scotty Young and Kyle Strand, sort of all ages adventure title. Really digging that as well. And then we finish off with The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 44. It's cliched at this point when I say it, but any week that has new Walking Dead is a good week. I should say as well, there are 2 missing there that I took home yesterday. I've actually managed to read 2 comics last night. But the 2 that I took home last night were That Texas Blood, you know, latest issue of that from Chris Condon, Jacob Phillips. And then, of course, there was a new issue of Deadly Class this week. Straight home, straight in the reading pile every time. Only 2 issues left. Guys, I'm not ready. So that is variants done. That is my pull list done. So we'll finish things off then with what's new in this week. Okay, so let's kick things off with what's new in this week. And again, plenty of graphic novels coming in. Some hardcover, some omnibuses, some trades, some manga, a little bit of everything. So there are a few here that I didn't receive all the copies that I should have from Diamond. So quantities might be a little limited, but again, top-up's coming next week. So latest hardcover for Batman has come in. So this is Batman Abyss. So this is essentially the Joshua Williamson run on Batman. It collects issues 118 to 121 and also 124 of Batman as well. So I really enjoyed Joshua Williamson's run. It was short, it was sweet. It could have almost been a mini-series just, but I thought it was good. Just he never got a chance to stamp his authority on it in a long runway, the way that, you know, Snyder, King, Tinian, and now hopefully Zdarsky does. Next up, we have from the Milestone line in DC Comics, we have Icon and Rocket Season 1. So this contains Milestone Return Simpson Edition 0 and also Season 1, 2, 6. So a lovely hardcover for that. Back in stock this week is Batman Fortnite 0 Point. You know, these still fly off the shelves. Contains all the codes. Unlike Marvel, who decide not to give you codes in second printings, but I'm not going to go down that. Route. Next up, we have an adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune as well. So this is the graphic novel book 1. So yeah, this is more of a European flavor on Dune. Obviously, we've had the Dune stuff from Boom Studios and so forth, whereas this is a straight up adaptation of the source material. Next up we have back in stock is November. This was a lovely hardcover original graphic novel from the team of Matt Fraction and Elsa Charretier. You're going to hear much more about her in the next few years, I would say, through doing Love Everlasting with Tom Keane. She's a ridiculously talented cartoonist, brilliant artist, and highly recommend checking that out. I believe there's 3 books in total of that. A couple of omnibuses in this week. We have Gotham Central back in stock. So I've spoken massively highly about this before. One of my favorite ever DC runs. Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka, Michael Lark, all about being a cop in Gotham City and how horrible that is. Next up we have Captain America by Dan Jurgens. So this is collecting a lot of stuff from sort of late 90s, early 2000s era Cap. So you've got Captain America 25 to 50, Captain America Annual 2000-2001, and then also some material from Captain America The Legend as well. A couple of bonus stories thrown in as well. So very, very comprehensive for Dan Jurgens' run on Captain America. Another cool one that's in this week is from a French publishing label called Humanoids. And what they have is the Jodorowsky library. What they're doing is they're starting to print a lot of the Jodorowsky stuff. And there's a lot of real great artists involved with this. There's, just some great sci-fi stuff here, stuff in, collaborations with, Mobius, collaborations with Travis Charest, all kinds of stuff. And I believe this is going to be the first of the Jodorowsky library, and there's going to be more on the way. A little bit of manga in for you. So we have Yona of the Dawn, volume 35. We have Snow White with the Red Hair, volume 18. We have Skip Beat volume 46. We have Queen's Quality, volume 14. We have Kaguya-sama, Love is War, number 22. And then we have a little selection of number 1s, which will be good for this week, which is Ghost Reaper Girl, number 1. We've got back in stock Demon Slayer, number 1. And also one of the biggest mangas in my short time stocking manga in the store, Chainsaw Man, volume 1 back in stock as well. Next up, we have the latest volume of Strange Academy. So this closes out the sort of first semester of Strange Academy. This covers numbers 13 to 18. And Strange Academy, again, I've spoken about it before. One of my favorite Marvel titles. I think it's just brilliantly written. Scotty Young, Humberto Ramos on art. Great stuff. Next up, we have the 6-issue miniseries that was Black Manta. This is from Chuck Brown and Valentin Delandro. You have the 6 issues there, but you've also got a story from Aquaman 80th Anniversary 100-page special in there as well. Rather lovely book put together here for Batman Earth 1. This is the complete collection. So they've released these as 3 separate volumes, but now all 3 volumes in one. This comes from the Doomsday Clock team of Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. Some great Batman storytelling, and a great thing to jump into if you're new and you want to get into Batman, because this is very much set up for new readers and inexperienced readers. Next up, we have The Rush from Cy Spurrier. This was a great Vault Comics title set in Yukon territory in sort of the late 1900s. Supernatural, cowboy, all kinds of stuff. New Frontier type stuff. Really good. That's all 6 issues. Couple of epic collections in. We have Avengers Kang War. So this covers Avengers from 1974 to 1976, volume 8. And it includes Avengers 129 to 149, as well as a few giant size issues. We have Wolverine epic collection from 96-97. This is called Tooth and Claw. So already we can see Venom's in there. We can see on the back we've got Elektra in there. This collects Wolverine 101 to 109. plus some Uncanny X-Men stuff, Venom, Tooth and Claw 1 to 3, Logan, Path of the Warlord, and Logan, Shadow Society as well. There's also a little bit of Captain Marvel stuff in there as well. Next up, we have the 6-issue miniseries Pennyworth, named after a series exploring the greatest character in DC history, Alfred. That one's for you, son. So yeah, this collects Pennyworth numbers 1 to 7, obviously linked to the early days of Alfred Pennyworth before he became Batman's most trusted advisor and father figure. Next up, we have the latest volume of Fantastic Four. So this is kicking off Reckoning More, which of course is Dan Slott saying his big massive story and saying his goodbye to Fantastic Four. So this is volume 10 of his work, and again Reckoning More volume 1. Back in stock by popular demand, we keep getting the boys back in stock, so we've now got the full run over there. So we have volume 2 there, we have volume 1 there, so again back in stock, and again I've already ordered more for next week as well. And then we finish off the what's new in this week with the latest Mighty Marvel Masterwork. So we're on to X-Men, we're on to volume 2 of X-Men, and this covers X-Men 11 to 19, so it does. So yeah, lovely additions these, and again I'm saving these up and collecting these more and more for the little man for when he is ready to read and get into this stuff. So that is us for this week. So variants this week, my pull list, new stuff in this week, news, everything else. We've probably missed 100 things, but I hope you enjoyed this show as ever, guys. I hope you find it useful each week. Feel free to spread the word if you do enjoy it, get other people watching the show, help us grow where we can. And in the meantime, I hope you guys are staying safe out there. You know, I'm going to go and finish setting up for today, as it is just shortly after 9 AM on the Wednesday, new comic book day. I look forward to seeing you all in the store soon. So take it easy.